Danielle with Stitch and Designs. Today's tutorial I'm going to be going over how to make this adorable Figaro and Cleo applique. I added my applique design to the Lynn Sport mini backpack by Lynn's Handmade. I used cotton woven fabric from Tay-Tay's Custom Fabrics, and it's interfaced with their new product called Tay-Tay Fused, and I absolutely really loved using it on this backpack. The tutorial today is only going to be focusing on the applique itself. There's lots of amazing tutorials on how to do the backpack part of it. So, and then also in the tutorial you'll notice that the parts where it's just doing the embroidery, I fast forwarded those parts because it would be a really long video if I just let those continue going. But I hope you enjoy this video. Thank you for watching. Go ahead, if you can give me a thumbs up, like, subscribe. I have lots of tutorials coming in the future. So hope you like this one. Thank you. Let's get started making our Figaro design. So I have my 8x12 hoop. For when I'm doing the bag designs, I personally like to use cutaway. You can use tearaway. I just like the extra reinforcement that a cutaway offers it. And because I'm smart, and every so often, especially it's really hard when you first put your hoop in and you only have a little bit of the design going, I have on occasion put the hoop back in the wrong direction. Hence why I have an arrow. So help to remind myself where it's supposed to go. And I need to now cut, because it's going to probably stick up and I'm not doing it directly onto the fabric. I'm going to have a base layer of other material. So for my base, I'm just going to go simple, and I'm going to use some of my waterproof canvas that I have here. So nothing super fancy. I have it rolled so I help keep rid of the wrinkles, but kind of a cool thing, you can iron it. As long as you're not ironing on the shiny side and you're ironing on this side, you can iron it and it gets rid of most of the wrinkles. I'm not going to say all the wrinkles, but it does a better job than going around with wrinkles. And this does not have to be a perfect cut by any means. It's just your base layer, and then eventually once the design is done, you will cut it down to just being a little bit larger than your little Figaro design. Or if you're going to do it to other designs, you would cut it down to whatever the size of that one would be. And so, but bonus part, you might know this, you might not know this, but on your hoop, so my design, so on this corner, there's a little notch or a little dash there and a dash there. That actually is your boundary. So all the way up here, it will not stitch to that point. And then where my finger is here, it will not stitch over here because it is past that line. So those are kind of like extra. If you didn't know that, now you do. If you did, yay, sorry. Sorry for you have to listen to me. And then to help keep things stay in place, I just use this stuff. I can find it at Joann's or off Amazon or something like that. But you just want to make sure it's a temporary adhesive spray. There's multiple different options out there, but making sure that it is temporary. Because a regular glue spray will gum up your needles, or needle if you're doing if you have a single needle. We'll be doing this on a multi-needle. And oh, I'm like, it's right in front of my face. I'm looking for the masking tape. It always happens to me. It's like literally if it was a snake, it would have bit me. Alright. I just like to do this just to help secure and hold it in place, especially once it first gets going, so that way I don't have any extra movement on it. It's totally optional. I just don't want my stuff to move. And then I created a little bubble there, so I'm actually going to unstick from that. And you don't want to like tension it, like pull it super hard, because that can cause things to get wavy, but you don't want it to be bubbly loose, and then just let it be relaxed. Okay, so now we got that base down, and so the other things you're going to need are your little applique scissors. These ones, I have a variety of them. I play around with different ones. The ones I'm going to be using today, I actually got from, I purchased from Chic Yep, Chic Geek. I'm gonna have a brain fart here. And I'm liking them. I wasn't too sure at first, but the more I've used them, the more I like them. And so now I've been using these ones more often than anything else. If you just want to snip some quick threads, I have my little snips. But yeah, so I tend to not try to use this for anything other than applique if I can help it. And then lighter, more so towards the end, but occasionally if you want to snip your jump stitches as we go along. And then I'm just going to pull over. So I have my variety of small pieces. Like I literally, like, it is important. Save your scraps. Like, you never know if you cut out the middle of something for a window, one of my window designs. You never know when it might come in handy. Hopefully this fits the castle. I'm hoping. We're gonna try some cork-ish stuff. I think I don't even remember where I got this, but it came from one of the big box stores. It was just, yeah. I have stuff from years, and you never know when you're gonna need it. So I know I tend to turn into a little bit of a hoarder when it comes to my scraps. So I'm not sure if I'm gonna use this yellow because I found this for little Cleo the fish, and I like the shiny. It does look like fish scales, but I need something for the face because this would be great for the body, but I need something for the face. So I'm still working on that one. And then my blacks, well, that's not quite the same material. Oh well. So blacks for Figaro, white for Figaro as well, and we'll also need a larger piece when we go to do the fishbowl. I think I'm going to use this red for the seashell in there. We'll see. I think I'll use that one. I don't know yet. We'll find out. But we're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start doing some of the stitching. All right, we're over at the machine now, and I'm going to go ahead and start doing the placement stitch. And we're working on my brother 10 needle machine. I think it's the Entrepreneur. I absolutely love this thing. Okay, so I'm gonna pull it forward. Drop stuff. Natural klutz here. All right, so we got Figaro's head stitched out. Let me show you guys. So we just have, let's turn on the overhead, maybe that might help. Kind of hard to tell. I don't know. Yeah, it seats there. So you just want to make sure, hopefully this piece will work. Oh please, I don't want to have to go get a bigger piece. Well, it gets, oh, did I get it? Did I get it? Yes! I like it when things come together. Okay, and just because it's at a funky angle, I'm gonna add a couple pieces of tape just to help hold it in place. Throw it back in and move on to the next one. Okay, so because the ears are inside, let me see if I can get you guys to be able to see it. So since the ears are inside the head, I just let the stitching go on because I don't need to worry about trying to cut that out and then this interfering with it. And I got a little tape, but it's not the end of the world. Just peel one side back and rip it like up towards the stitches, and then it helps get a closer peel. And then when you go peel the other side, you peel towards it, and then it'll pull it out. And you might get a couple little stragglers underneath, but not too bad. So at this time, I'm gonna go ahead and trim around Figaro. I got my pink to be able to lay down my ears. So the nice thing about having a dedicated pair of applique scissors is that you really only use it for when you cut vinyls. Well, I specifically do a lot more vinyl appliques than fabric ones. So if you wanted to be really fancy and really help the longevity of your scissors, you have one for vinyl, one for fabric. That way it's always cutting the same type of material for the most part. Try not to get my arm in there. And then I like them because I can get a much closer cut to my stitch line. Because if you use regular scissors, they're a little bit more bulky, and so then you don't always get the cleanest cuts. And then when you are finished, you can really see if it's a nice clean edge on the outside or if it is a little bit more of a little more wonky and needs a little more work on the cuts. I know I have my days where I do not cut very well, and it shows. That's the one bad part about doing vinyl appliques, is if you need working on your cutting skills, unfortunately it will show. Where in some cases, like the inside of his face will get covered up, so you won't see if you have a bad cut there. It will only really show on the outside edges of the design. And then with cutting, it's a matter of just taking your time, going around nice and easy. When you get to tighter corners, just small little cuts. I am working at the beginning edges, or more towards the front of the scissors than anything. And then when you get a nice long straightaway, that's when you can move your material further to the back so you can get nice deeper long cuts. But just take your time, move slow. And then just be careful not to jab your scissors, because we're working with a base, well, even with this or with fabric or any kind of, you're doing something underneath it, you need to be careful. Like I'm lifting, let me move a little closer. I don't want to drop my peak. So as I'm moving, I am lifting this, so that way I get underneath it and I'm not accidentally stabbing down into my base material. Yeah, it just keeps it out of my way as I'm moving around. And then sometimes, especially depending on how you cut, if you have a lot of excess around it, if you have nice cuts or you're able to have it be a continuous piece, there's a lot of little extra that you can save and then use it for smaller pieces down the road. Like I have multiple little storage bins. I just picked them up from like Walmart. They're the like 3-drawer things, and I have them like color coordinated. So this one is definitely a keeper. I can definitely use that a lot. And then I peeled off another, and that was another piece. So that's another good sized chunk I can definitely use for other stuff. So those will go into the bin. And make sure I have my hoop going the right direction, arrow going into the machine, because I do not want to accidentally mess this up. Alright, I don't need to, because it's going to stitch down both ears at the same, or not at the exact same time, but there's no stop in between. So I'm going to go ahead and kind of eyeball them a little bit. Make sure that fits. Okay, cool. Now I'll just cut the other one the same way. And then for me, when I'm doing it, I cut with this side of the scissors, the long pointy side. I cut that side down. A little bit harder to get that underneath, but it's probably doable, but I just haven't tried it yet. Well, I have, and I just don't have very good success. That's for me. Everybody's different. All right, so we got little pieces, and because this one's a little bit further into the back, I can't quite reach that. And then you probably saw me when I was doing the stitching around the head for Figaro. On this side, I didn't quite have the tape, and then there was a cut in the middle of my vinyl. So I just kind of put my hand there, and I was holding it just to make sure that I didn't get any bubbles or bumps in it. And that's kind of the purpose of the tape. But if you don't have enough tape, or if you're able to, if you want to be frugal, there you go, that's the word, frugal, then you can, instead of wasting tape or using tape, you can just hold it. So pop this back into the machine. Yep, this one is definitely reachable. I just have to make sure to hold it when I need it. Let's make sure if it's going to the... Okay. So I just fast forwarded, I jumped it up to one stitch ahead just to make sure that I was going to the back side first. So that way I wouldn't have to hold this, or if I would know if I needed to hold it right then and there. Oh, of course the tape's in the way. Oh well. Okay. Pull this out and we're going to trim the ears and then go grab the white for the face. And then another thing, if you do get a little tiny piece, I'm gonna cheat and just use these because I don't know where my tweezers are. But another way, if you have fingernails, you can use your nails. But another nice little trick, tweezers. Tweezers come in handy if you get tape stuck on your stitch lines or for other little random things. You never know when tweezers will come in handy. Kind of one of those things you just don't think about until you're like, oh, that would work. And then these little scrap pieces are just, they're a little too small, at least for me. Or yeah, I don't think I'll probably have an applique piece or something that small. Okay. Alright, so this is where we're at right now. I know it's hard to, oh, maybe if I angle it up a little bit, you can see, there we go, get a little bit more light. We got the outline of Figaro's head, and then we got his cute little pink ears. Alright, we're gonna go ahead and throw it back in, and we're gonna do the stitch out for the face. Oh no, sorry, we're doing the his little ear wisps, and then we'll go to his face. Alright, and then there are little tiny jump stitches in between the little ear wispy things. You're more than able to trim those after when it's all completed because nothing else is going to interfere with those. Oh, how perfect. I love when cuts just work out so nicely. And then if you do have a slightly, like on mine, I have about that much extra. And that might be a good piece to save for maybe not this project, but maybe another project. So I allow it sometimes, instead of laying it just smack dab in the middle, I will get it close to the edge, but make sure to cover everything because you don't want it to be like right on the edge because then you barely have anything holding it. But I like to, that way I can keep my excess over here and I can save that for a later date for another project. Because everything gets expensive, so save stuff where you can. All right, we're gonna tack down the face. And because the eyes are in the face, I'm having it do the little eye, not the eyeballs itself, but like, I guess, I don't know, something around the eyes. We'll do that first, the fill stitch. Okay, kind of change the angles on you. Hopefully this gives you a little bit better of a view and better lighting. So, oh yeah, much better. So this is what we got so far. I do have a little extra long tail, so I'll just grab my little snips and trim that off. And so I'm going to go ahead and trim around the face. Grab those snips. And I can always, at the end, that's when I take the lighter and then go around and singe up any jump stitches or anything that I might need to. And then, as you can see, from pushing it over a little bit, I do have a little bit of extra, but I did get to save this piece. And that's a decent sized piece for smaller little white areas that might need it. So I'm going to start cutting down here at the bottom where I'm really not going to save that. And then just work my way around. And then because now we're getting into the multi-layers, be really careful when you're going in and sliding your stitches in, or scissors, not stitches, because you don't want to cut your stitches. So just take your time, and if you feel resistance, you're probably butting up against one of your layers underneath. So this one's not as bad because it is on top all the way around, so you don't really have anything to bump into except for at the beginning when you start. But there will be some areas on this that you will need to be cautious of your trimming, because you will go over ups and downs more. Alright, and then I'm not going to keep that part, so I'm just going to cut that off now. Yeah, I probably won't use that part. Alright, so we got another piece we can save. Alright, let's see what this thing is we're doing next. Okay, so I will be going back over with, ooh, I can save, excuse my head in the way. So the piece that we just cut off, we could probably get to use again, because now we're going to go ahead and do the mouth. And I did do the mouth as a separate piece just to kind of help give it a little bit more dimension to it rather than just doing lines. Alright, so it's going to go ahead and do my placement for the bottom part of his mouth, and then it's going to do the inside of the mouth, and then it's going to do the top part of his lip, to then it'll cover that top stitching fill part of the inside of his mouth. I know I could, technically the machine will push it out a little bit for me, but I'm just going to pull it out. Okay, make sure everything gets covered. Alright, I'm just going to cut this down. And we'll save that for the top area. Oh, need to put it back in. That'd be bad to start the machine and then it's not even actually in. I have tried to do that. Won't work out very well. Alright, because it's going to go ahead and then do the mouth colors, and those are going to be fill stitches. I'm going to go ahead and get this trimmed up and out of the way. So you can kind of see the bottom of his mouth. It gives it a little bit more, dimension to his overall face. So I don't know. I know not everybody might like it. I liked it. I thought it was cute. Added a little extra detail. All right, now we're gonna place his top lip. So technically, if you really wanted to, if you didn't like this bottom mouthpiece part, or if you're worried about maybe too many layers, you can skip this bottom part and just skip the placement and then just do what would be the tack down as your bean stitch. So then you would just have a bean stitch design there. Then it would do the mouth, but I would still do the applique piece on top, because if you can kind of see the white I had the white come down just to cover the mouth just a little bit. So if you just did a bean stitch, you would have that white coming down into the mouth just a little bit. That would show. Which, if you had the right color Sharpie, you could totally mark over it, but you didn't, then if you just did this part, I'm just going to go ahead and cut that off. Back to the machine. Make sure we're covered. Go ahead and cut this part out. And then, yeah, because with the bottom part, you do have something that you can run into, so just be careful when cutting. I felt a little resistance, so I had to go back and stop or check. And then when you are going over fill stitches, just be really careful that you're not digging your scissors downward too much, and that you are helping to lift, so there is a little bit of a separation between your fill stitches and then where you are trimming, because you don't want to accidentally cut all your fill stitch lines, or if you're going over a satin stitch, you don't want to be cutting your stitches. So there he is so far. Yeah, I just like the little extra 3D look to it. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and pop it back in, and next it's going to be doing the eyes and the nose. And for this one, because the eye and the nose were so close together, I just left it as one piece, and then it'll have a little detail stitch that will come around and then kind of close off the nose, so that it gives a little bit more of a separation. But it just seemed kind of silly because they were so close to have two separate ones. Trying to save on the cutting. So that one. I had to double check to see what it was going to do, because I knew it does. We'll stitch these guys down, it will tack this down, but then it also does, before it will do the arches of the eyebrows, it will then tack these down, it will pause, we'll trim, and then we'll put it back in, and then it will continue finishing doing the little whiskers on his face. Alright, let's get these guys trimmed. And just remember, again, just be cautious going over the satin stitching around the eyes. vase. And then yeah, you can see it does have that little extra little line that goes across there, so it kind of gives it the illusion of it being separate, but it's just one piece. And now we're gonna go ahead and do the whiskers. Okay. So I'll just show you what we got. So we did the little whiskers, and so yeah, I had a little fuzz. So when it's all said and done, I will then go back with my little lighter, and be really careful when you are using your lighter on white. It has a tendency to want to like burn and turn black and brown really easily. So just be very cautious, very quick dabs. Don't, yeah. I still do it, and I goof up all the time, and yeah. But so this is going to be, I know it's hard to tell because it's blue on blue, of course, but there is a placement stitch for the water or the background water inside the fishbowl. And because it is going to be covered by vinyl, we can use cotton. So and just make sure when you're doing your cotton that it is ironed, because you don't want to have any wrinkles behind it, because you can't change that. Ooh, I might actually need to re-iron this. Let's put that back on. I don't like, yeah, I'm not liking how wrinkly that is. So I'm gonna go re-iron this, and I'll be right back. So I used my fabric scissors, cut down my piece of cotton woven. And then so it will fit there. It's ironed, it looks good. Okay. And I don't necessarily do this, but to help for applique, using especially with cottons, you can add a heat and bond, like a heat and bond light to the back of it, so it gives it a little bit more structure. So then when you're stitching on it, it doesn't move as much. I tend to be a little late on the lazier side, and not. Oh, but what I can do is add a little spray of SF101. SF101 is a stabilizer you can add to the back. My 505 spray. So I can add a little bit to the back of that just to help hold it in place, not a lot. Because it's not going on the face and it's just going over here and there's really nothing behind it that I have to worry about, I can use it where I wouldn't use it on the face pieces like the eyes or anything, because then if you spray over, you could get the sticky stuff onto your vinyl or other areas that you don't want to have be sticky or dirty. I'm gonna go ahead and use my other pair of applique scissors just for this one. And the cut around this one doesn't matter as much because it is being covered by vinyl on top. I hope I'm still in the frame. I like that it slides. That's so nice. Let's see if I can come over here. That hoop is kind of getting in my way. Yeah, so if your cut's not perfect, no big deal. Go on, it's going to do the placement stitch for the sand on the inside. Alright, and because this stitch out, sorry, I'm moving around grabbing my stuff. Because this one won't be covered up, the bottom will get covered by the fill stitch, but the top won't. So I am going to use my cork, just scrap cork. Hopefully, yes. Okay. For on this one, if it is possible, if you wanted to give it a try, you could. I think the heat and bond will help. If you did want to do fabric here, I believe heat and bond also helps it from fraying. But you could probably try the heat and bond light, and then if you put like fray check around like this top edge of it, you could probably get away with using a cotton or a canvas rather than cork or vinyl to help with the layers. Don't quote me on it, I have yet to try that, so no promises if it actually works. And this one, your bottom cut doesn't matter quite as much because it will be covered up. Yeah. Now I know why I don't use cork very often. Kind of harder to cut. Apologies if my dogs start going crazy. They've been really good thus far. We got a pack of corgis here. There's 9. One of them's out front, hanging out front with a big dog. And then we have 8 corgis upstairs with me. Well, not with me in here, they're scattered all around the room. I can see a few of them. Alright, let's go ahead and put in some sand at the bottom. Not actual sand, but this for fill stitch. Alright, so I finished making the sand. Ooh, this is tough. Okay, let me just come forward. Yeah, my 6 needle doesn't do that, so this is kind of a perk to the 10 needle. Okay, so it already did the sand, so I'll give you a show of what we got so far. So we got the sand. This bottom part will be covered by the fishbowl, the outline, and then plus this whole area here will be covered by a clear vinyl. So I didn't mention the clear vinyl on the part, but yeah, so all that will get covered. And so if you have a lot of dogs like I do, or cats, or animals in general, or just with all the little extra hair threads, little snips and stuff like that, so like I got a little fuzzy right there. So before you go and we do that, I'll go over it again when we get there. Take like a lint roller and just like roll this area, so then that way when you do tack down the clear vinyl, you don't get some random stuff trapped in there with it, which would be kind of a bummer. Alright, so we're going to place this for the castle. Hopefully that's not too much brown. But we're just going to rock it. So I'm just going to tape this down. I don't even know where that piece came from. It came from something. Alright, we're in. Let's do the castle. Alright, let's go ahead and take that in and we'll trim up our castle. So the little divots up here at the top for like, what is it, the turret? No, that's the other airplane. Anyway, the top part of the castle, I don't know what that's called, but that might be a little tricky to cut in there. And then again, just watch out for the ups for the layers. And then this fill stitch at the bottom. Just with all your trimming, just make sure to take your time. Having a nice, really good pair of applique scissors really helps you get into those tight little areas. A little better than the bigger bulky scissors. They do a nice job too, but I still like my applique scissors. Ooh, I still have enough brown around that I can save it for another project. May not be as bad as I thought up here. Hopefully I'm in frame. I can't tell. I'm sorry. So guys, I'm not. Done. All right, and we got a cute little castle. Yeah, definitely you can see the little line details with a little bit of light on it. Now, where's my snips? I'm gonna trim these or just pull it. Apparently. That's where that lint roller will come in handy, pick up all those excess pieces. All right, so now we're gonna go back in and it is going to do the rocks, the seaweed, and then we'll move over to the little seashell, and then it's on to Miss Cleo. Yeah, maybe I'll do red. So this is what we got so far. I tried to do when I was doing it, I tried to do a little bit of texture into those to make it a little more realistic. Do I want red? Yeah, let's do red. Why not? I can't find the right shade of pink. Anyway. Right. So we just need a little piece. Oh, yep, there the kids go. Yeah. Corgis are funny dogs. They will go off for anything. And of course the loudest one is my oldest one, Gus. Oh good, they went outside. I'm kind of liking the red. Kind of hard to tell the vinyl has some texture to it, but it does. So yeah, just take your time. This one is smaller. And of course I use something that has a fuzzy back. Of course. Alright, because it has a fuzzy back, I'm just going to go through and do a little extra cutting just to help get the fuzzies out of there. Not as noticeable against a cork, which is kind of nice. But you see it more against the blue. So for what I'm doing, just trying to get under there and do the little fuzzy trims, I'm more trying to angle my scissors. Words are good. Angle it more where the top is like towards me and then the bottom kind of slides under it a little bit, so that way I can hopefully trim that up. Yeah, and that's definitely where that lint roller would come in handy. Okay, not bad. Looks pretty good. All right, now let's start Cleo. All right, so it's gonna do first a placement stitch for one of her fins, or two of her fins, and then it does her face, and then it does her main body and the rest of the fins. All right. Ooh, do I like that? Well, let's just go for it. So, because you never know what you're gonna like. You never know how good it's gonna turn out until you try. And honestly, if you hate it that much, if you really hate it, you can pause it, pick the stitches out, which for applique it's a lot easier to do than like fill stitches and satin stitches. And then just cut it out and try something else. I have definitely done that before. It's definitely possible. Alright, so let's go that way. Definitely adding tape on this stuff because it's more like a fabric-y-ish, whatever this stuff is. I don't even know where I got it. I don't have very much. I think I just have this piece left. Oop, need a little more. Okay. Hopefully this stuff isn't quite a pain to cut. Yeah. I'm gonna use my other scissors. A little too fabric-y feel. But I have no idea what this stuff is. But it's cool. Kinda cool. I'll show you guys here in a second. Definitely looks like fish scales. I dig it. All right. So now it's going to go back in and we're going to do the face. Oh, maybe I lied. Maybe the face is with the body. Ha! I can't see. So I found this in my big scrap pile. I wish I could remember where I got it because I absolutely love it. I love the subtle oh, not subtle, but I love the shimmer to it, but it's not glitter or chunky glitter. It's just shiny. It's pretty. Okay, let's cut this. Helps if I have the scissors the right way. Put that down. Okay, that looks good. Alrighty. We got a couple long stitches, so I'm going to snip those. Okay. And we'll give her a trim. Ew, this color matches so well, I can hard to see. Hopefully my head's not in the frame. Yeah, when you pause and you have to come back, just make sure you're not going in at too hard of an angle because you definitely don't want to cut any of your fabric or underneath material. Okay, what's it doing here? Okay. All right, and we got the body of Miss Cleo. I like the shine. She's gonna look pretty. Alright, and now the other part is going to be the placement stitch for her other two fins, and then there'll be the tack down and then the little detail stitches within the fins itself. So if you didn't do like the one that looks like fish scales on mine, if you just did like a plain one or even a shiny one, it has the little detail lines in it, so it'll give the detail. Alright, time to add the fabric. Technically I could just throw this over the top of it and be happy, but because this is kind of directionally-ish, and I say ish. Ooh, do I have extra little piece? Ooh, maybe. Yay for little scraps. Yeah. I like it. Okay, so that will hold that one. And let's go up with these ones. So I just caught myself, so I need to separate those for the little detail lines and then the tack down. Because if you have tape or a larger piece that covers the previously done ones, you're going to be tacking down those ones. So there will be a natural pause once I release this design. I will put in a stop there. That way you won't have to stop your machine like I did. And so. And again, if you get tape pinched down either your fingernail or some good tweezers will work fantastic. Definitely grabbing the little lint roller. Because this stuff has a little bit of lint to it, not a whole lot, but you just never know what you're going to get. Oops. Didn't catch those. Alright, Cleo is all finished. Well, technically not all finished because I have to do her eyes and her mouth, but looks so pretty. Alright, so let's, okay. So here we go, almost done. So Cleo does have a couple little jump stitches in the eyes, so then that's totally, or eyelashes, so easily snipped after the fact. And then the blue line is just to symbolize, well, not really symbolize anything, but to kind of give it that, like, it actually is in a bowl and that water line. So that's kind of what that one is, so it's not just some random blue line. Oh, and this white line that's coming around, that's going to be for your clear vinyl. So that is your placement stitch for that. So now is your time to grab a lint roller or some masking tape. Something sticky, not horribly sticky, that's not going to ruin this. But just in case. Oh, this was already previously used on something, so not all of that is from that. That'd be kind of bad if it was. Okay, so do I want to use this? No. Alright. That one's a little dirty. Alright, let's check out this. Okay, that looks better. Alright, now where's my... We'll go ahead and trim this down so it's a little bit more manageable. Yeah, where's my vinyl scissors? I have scissors for everything. For fabric, for vinyl, even for stabilizer. It's like I want my scissors to last as long as they can. But I definitely need to still take them to the sharpener. They are overdue. They're not bad, but they're not as good as what they were. Words. I am good with words. I can do it. Set those aside. Oh, tape. Hopefully it doesn't miss. Alright, cool. I'll miss. I don't have to mess with it. Yay. Right, tape that down. Tape that down. Tape that down. And I'll just leave that side open. In. Oh wait! Haha! I just totally had an epiphany. I almost missed it. The other jump stitches you can do later. The ones in the fishy bowl need to be done now, because yeah, I would have realized that after the fact. Oh boy, that would have sucked. So it would just be gentle with it. Hopefully my head's not all sticking up. Okay, any other jump stitches? I can't tell those colors apart. You blend in enough. Any jumps on the castle? Nope, looks good. Okay. And then we'll just take the lighter. Ooh, as I almost burn myself. Do a couple little dabs. Okay. Looking pretty. Got the eyes all done. Okay, yeah, now's your chance. Anything else? And maybe a couple little dabs around the castle. Wouldn't hurt. Just give it and all once over. Alright. Okay. If you can live with it, put the clear vinyl back down. Pop it back in. So if you caught yourself before you put down the clear vinyl, then you don't have to do this part, but if you're like me and caught yourself after the fact, just back stitch it maybe like 4, 5, 6 stitches. Alright. So go ahead, take your tape off. And I'm just going to use my vinyl scissors. You want to get close, but you don't have to get like right up on it, because technically this is kind of a window-ish, because you will be cutting out, so we will be putting a piece of vinyl over across this whole part, and then we'll be cutting out the middle so we can see the inside of the fishbowl. So, but this edge will get covered. But you don't want to leave it too long because you don't want it sticking out. But you don't have to worry about it being like right, nice and tight and the most beautiful thing in the entire world kind of thing. Which is kind of nice. Okie dokie. Let's take a peek. See? It makes it look way more fishbowl-ish. Bully-ish. No. I'll roll with it. Okay, what are we doing? Okay, and so the next stitch is going to be the placement stitch for, ooh, that is, I'm gonna go back. That's a little further than I want it to be. Come on. Maybe I'll get that. Get in there a little better. Okay, that's better. So now we're going to do the placement stitch for the overall fishbowl vinyl. Okay, so here we have our, make sure I'm all the way in. So we have our outline placement. So if you are worried about the multiple layers, then skip the placement for the bottom part of the mouth and just do the bean stitch or the tack down stitch for this. So then you have one less layer right here to go through if you're worried about it. If not, no big deal. And this is tall because Figaro's paws will be right up in here. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and make sure whatever piece of vinyl that you do for the fishbowl, it is tall, wide enough. You want to make sure it's covered. Okay, cool. Yeah, I'm good. Yay! I like the shiny. I'm gonna stick with the shiny theme. Okay. So it's enough on all sides. Oh, I'm gonna put it in so I'll have to try to figure it out later. Okay. So when it's in all the way, at least on a multi-needle, it's a little bit harder to tell how far you're in or covering. Where on a single needle, you can see a little bit easier. But I'm just gonna go ahead and hold this. So I just finished the outside, and now it's gonna jumped into doing the inside. All right. So, and I used a shiny vinyl, but once you cut this away, it's not overpowering shiny. If that makes sense. There won't be as much of this material. Yep. Nice thing about doing the outside, you don't have anything to interfere with. Well, unless you're wrangling a long piece like I am. But just take your time, nice and slow. Definitely makes it a little bit harder having a long piece to work with. Or work around. I'm probably out of the frame cutting this. Let me come back in. And then when you do get up towards the face, that's when you'll have your first material that you kind of have to watch out for that you don't dig into. And then the bottom of his mouth is another one. All right. so that's the outside. That's the easy part. Well, this is fairly easy too. So if you're not worried about saving this, just go at it from the middle. But if you want to save this, go to an edge and just kind of do a little pinch. And don't go in very deep. You don't really want to stab it. You just want to go in just enough to get that layer. And then what's nice about having that clear vinyl on the underside, it acts as like a protector, so then you don't have to worry about nicking your other layers or the fill stitches or anything underneath it, because it's there to kind of block you from it, but you still don't want to just stab into it when you get going. And then just go around the middle. Take your time. And once you get enough, then you can kind of help yourself and get more spacing underneath there, and then things go a little bit quicker for you. Alright, so the nice thing about starting it on the edge, now I have this nice big beautiful piece to be able to use for something else in the future. And so this is what I meant by, yes, I used a very shiny thing, but it's not, ooh, I could probably trim that bottom one a little bit better now that I look at it. I'll do that a little later. But it's not overwhelmingly shiny, and then with paws going here, you won't see it quite as much, or it'll be less shiny. But it still adds a nice little fun pop, especially in the sunshine. Okay, so now we're going to do the placement stitch for one of the paws. Right. I know I have smaller. Yeah, I'm going to go check for my smaller pieces real quick. I'll be right back. And so I just grabbed a variety of my random cuts from whites to see if I have something that will fit, so I don't waste. Ooh, perfect. The luxury of saving your scraps. You never know when you could use them. Alright, so because he's in the back, let's go ahead and use some tape. So it's going to tack down the paw, and then it's going to do the little lines to kind of show the individual little toes? Fingers? Toes? I don't know. Whatever. Yeah, kitty, as my husband says, the little toe beans. Or finger beans. Technically, because the paws are so far apart, I could do them at the same time, which, now that I think about it, I might make that adjustment. So for when you get to do this one, the placement will be done at the same time, and then the tack down for these will be done at the same time, so then you're not just doing one and then the other, so then you can do them together. Well, technically I don't have to cut this one right now, but I will anyway. Okay. Yep, I'm good. Run just top of the fishbowl. Alright, well, there's one paw left. Woohoo, we are almost done. Best noise ever. We are finished. Well, it's finished. The machine is finished. I'm not finished, or we're not finished. So I just have a little paw to cut out, and then we'll trim up any last things. We'll go around with the lighter. part's done, I'm going to trim up this bottom just because I didn't quite like how I did that. Technically I could wait till I have it out of the hoop and then I can kind of more angle it a little more and then I could get a better cut on it, which I might need to. Alright, let's grab the snips and the lighter. So now we can come back and snip our little jumps. So we have one there, one there, kind of one here still. And a couple long ones. Alright, let's just take the lighter. Oops. Just nice and easy. Especially over the white, you don't want to spray anything. Alright. And we're all done! Isn't it adorable? Oh my gosh, I cannot wait to make this into a backpack. This is gonna be so cute. Cool. Well, thank you guys for joining me on this tutorial on how to do Figaro and Cleo. For watching, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a comment, question, give me a thumbs up, like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Thank you.